Hello guys, welcome back. In this video, we are going to talk about the listeners and we'll see how to generate reports using screenshots of test cases. So first we'll see how to use listener. So I'll be using one of the listener as ITestListener. Again, we'll see how to apply the extend report to our current scenario. So you can use that particular thing or how you can add your reports straight away to the report section, and if in case a test case fails, how you can add the screenshots in report as well as separately in a particular folder. So too many things to go in this video, so just cover each and every section. Now in case you are not familiar with the listeners, or you want to go through a video related to listeners, or you want to know more about the reports, just to recall these topics, then in description section you'll find the videos related to the listener as well as reports. So watch those videos and then get back to this one. Cool. Now let's see what exactly we have to do. So in utilities, now here let's create a new class and name that class as ITestListener, or just mention it as listener class. That's all. Now once you have created the listener class, here I'm trying to implement. So as you know that listener is an interface, so I'll use the implement keyword and I write ITestListener and just import this ITestListener. Now, just to check the description part of this ITestListener, what exactly we'll do here is I'll just open this. I'll go to this ITestListener and click using mouse and press Control. And here you see in ITestListener, there are 8 methods altogether. And you know about the interface, that in interface, it's compulsory to use all the methods available. So now I'll focus on the most important methods like on test success, on test failure, on test start, and on test finish. So these 4 methods I'll focus, but because it's a listener interface, so I need to use all the methods. So I've written the code separately for this. So I have that code available. What I have to do, it's like I'll just copy and paste here and I'll explain you the section wise. So just focus on that and you will get, just follow the steps and you'll be able to understand. So what I'm going to do here is also in this listener, I'm applying extend report. Now you know about the extend report that helps you to generate report in form of HTML. So I'm going to apply extend report as well. So here we'll apply. So to use extend report, we need to apply the library that's related to extend report. So we'll apply that, we'll add that library as well to our extend report, and then we'll run the extend report in the listener itself. So here I'll just write extend reports. And remember, when you're writing extend report, don't give spaces between these two names or else you'll not be able to find. Now this is the dependency. So just go click on this, copy the dependencies and add it to your pom.xml file. So I'll open my pom.xml file and just below this, I'll add the dependencies. Now you see, when required, I just copy the dependencies and add it accordingly. So you do the same. So I have not added all the dependencies in the beginning itself. So at least you can follow that, okay, these dependencies from where it is coming and at which stage we need these dependencies. So you'll get a better idea from there. Now in listeners, I'll apply both the reports as well as the listeners. So just I've written the code for this separately. I'll just copy the code and put it here so you'll be able to understand easily. So first I'll define the 3 classes. Now I'm just pasting the code step by step. So these 3 classes will help you to generate reports. So these classes are required for generating reports. Now, if you want to know more about this, just you can watch my report videos related to TestNG. So you can go and watch that video. So there you will have a clear description as well as your presentations explaining the report concept. So that will make things more easier for you. Now here I'm going to create one method with name as public void configure report. So in this configure report, I'm assigning values to the HTML reports, to the reports, as well as to test. So the values are assigned to these particular objects. And here it's theme. So I'll just import this theme thing. So just by defining it inside the method, the exact values are applied to these methods. Now, the next thing what I'm going to do, I'm going to use all the 8 methods that are needed for to run a ITestListener interface. Now, these are all 8 methods. First one is on test start. So if you want to write any message here, just you can write a print message here saying that the test started. So this will help you to know that, okay, at this point the test started. The next one is on test success. So knowing that on test success, the status should be in form of like the color. What I've decided for a pass state is green. So I've written extend report dot green, as well as I'm using markup helper to basically describe the test case name, and status I'm passing it manually here, pass. So it's obvious that every time a test case pass, it will come to on test success, and just it will execute the details from here. Next time on failure. So on failure, here you see I've added the screenshots as well. I'll come to the screenshot section once I've done the screenshot thing. Right now, just focus that on test failure, it will execute the failure part. Now, if you'll follow these steps, it's similar both on test success, on test failure, in fact, on test skipped. In all 3 cases, you'll see the steps are similar. Just what changes here is, in this, I'm using status.fail. In this, I'm using status.pass. Here, I'm using the red color. Here, I'm using the yellow color. That's all. So though it looks too many things in the code, but it's not that difficult. It's very simple. Just you have to follow one of them and you will get the rest as it is. Now, here are a few. And that's all. It's done. On test start, I think it's written. No, it's one on start, on test start. Okay, cool. So all these methods are applied here. And these 3 sections are important. The failure, on test success, and on test skip. These 3 sections are important. So I focused more on this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply screenshot. So I'm going to apply screenshot for test failure. The 2 things I'm trying to do is, one, if a test case fails, the screenshot, I get the screenshot and that screenshot is added to my folder. That's one thing. The next thing, once the test case fail, the screenshot image should be added to the failure stage as well. So I want to add the test case. So by this adding screenshot capture, this will help me to add the image that I have in the screenshot. I'm adding this image to where? To my test report. I'll show you when I'll get the output. So for that, I've added extra line that will help us to add the image in the reports as well. We'll see that. Now for screenshot in base class, I'm going to create a method. And this method, I will name it as screenshot related method. So I will name it as capture image. So here I'll just create a method. And here, this is the code for screenshot, where just we pass, basically we pass the driver details that's converted into a screenshot class. We assign that value to that object, and using that, we create the file, whatever the output the file is. And then in file utilities, we pass the both the source as well as the path. So basically, in particular location, it goes and save. Now here, the location is screenshots. S will be in capital. That's one thing. Rest is fine. Now I'll get back to my login test. So in this login test, in fail case, what I'm going to do is I'll call the capture method straight away. And here I'll pass driver, as well as it's asking for method name. So I'll say the method name as verify. These 2 details. Now, because you have added IO exception there, so add this exception here to this method as well. So now in this case, if a test case fails, it will straight away go to this capture screenshot method. It will execute details from there and just post it to our folder, and that folder is the screenshot folder. Now here you'll find lots of things added, but just you follow the code, you'll find it easy. So don't get panic with these many codes that I have written. Now, if you know about the extend reports and listeners, you'll find it very easy. That's all the solution is. Now, once all of this is done, what I'm going to do now here is I will go to my, I'll go to testng.xml this time. And here I'll change the class name to login test. Now I'm using this login test because here I have a failed condition. So that will help you to get the screenshot details as well. Now I've done the configuration of listeners. Now to apply this listener to your test case, what do you need to do? You need to write a separate tag of listener. And you see this tag, I have put it before the test tag. So you see this is before line number 6. Now this is the listener tag, and the details of listeners will come inside this tag. So here I need to pass the listener class name. So for listener class name, first, this is the listener class name. So first you need to pass the package name. That's over here. I'll copy it straight away from here. This is my package dot the listener class name, that is this one. So I'll copy the listener class name. And here in testng.xml, I'll apply this listener here. Done. So this now listener is applied to this login test. Now when I run this case, as usual, the test case will fail. So as usual, the test case will fail. And here, sorry. Yeah, so the test case will fail and all the details will be added accordingly. So just I do run as, I just run this TestNG suite here. Now the process will execute. Now we need to focus on the screenshot, as well as we will get a report, that is HTML report, basically we say. So it execute first time with the correct credentials, that's fine. Second time with the wrong credentials, that's fine as well. And at this point, a screenshot will generate. Now let's see in our code here. So 2 passes, 1 failed. Now here in listener class, see, in case of failure, I've mentioned that on test, basically the report, I'm talking about the report that's generated. So here it's mentioned that the report will be of this name, extend listener report demo .html. So what I'm going to do is I'll just refresh just to see the changes. Go here to the project, right click, do refresh. Now once you do this, you see here in listener extend report, you have the report. Now in screenshot, I don't see anything added. Maybe the path of the screenshot is a problem that I have not changed somewhere. So let me do one thing. Here, let me check the path. It's screenshots. I have not changed here as well. And in this case, as changed in this case, but yeah, it's changed in this case. So this should go here. Is it the same, or there is something more to change here? Screen shots. It's same. So this will generate the image for that as well. Okay, in screenshot, the image is added over here. Now, again, a small mistake that I've done in my code here is that this screenshot thing I've written after assert true false. Below this, I have written, I called this method. This was again my mistake. So I've just changed it and I have brought it before this. So now what you can do, it's just you have to do a small change. Just bring this line before this method. I didn't notice that I've done this mistake, but I realized like, okay, this method was not called. In fact, before that, the report was generated that it's failure. So if you call it before, so now this will generate a screenshot image. So you will have the screenshot image. Now this is the screenshot image where basically you see when you enter these credentials, infotech solutions dot this. So at this page, the screenshot was generated and it's captured. Now talking about the extend report, when I come here, so this is my extend report and this is how it looks like. So here, first time it passed, it says pass. Second time it says fail. And you see the images are also added. That's what I was saying. This images is added because in listener, in this section of code that is here on test failure, here in this section, I have added test.log test failure. This here, you see, I have added these details. So these details are added over here in case of on test failures. Now here, because I've add screen capture, and here I've written this condition that if this file exists, then we do not generate the report again or the image again. But if in case it's there for the first time, then you have to add this image as well. So because this image is added, so it's available in the HTML report. And this is how your HTML report looks like. And this is what we are writing code for all about. So here you see in case of pass, I get the pass report. In case of failure, I get failure. And that's how the complete process looks like. So this is about the listeners. This is about the screenshots, how it's generated, and also how the report is generated. All three things are done in this section. Now, one more thing, because now the next step, most of the coding part is done. The next step is our implementation on Jenkins. So we are going to add this on GitHub, and from GitHub, we are going to run that thing on Jenkins. So just that's our next step. So before putting this thing on GitHub, like when you will put this on GitHub, then obviously there I'll be passing the paths and all. And now when I'm executing the code, it's like I'm executing a specific XML file. So I go to that XML file and then execute it. Now the thing is that when you're running from Jenkins, so in Jenkins, you will basically pass the location of your project, and there you will pass the location of pom.xml file. Now, once you get this pom.xml file, so Jenkins will try to read this from here itself. And also, if you don't want to read it from the every time, go to the XML file and read it from there, because you are doing the project in Maven and you want that this project should execute in Maven itself. So here you need to add few plugins. So when you build the Maven test, before that, you need to add some plugins, and that's compulsory. Now these things, all these things we are going to get in the GitHub link. So I'll share that GitHub link with you as well. So in pom.xml file where you'll go, you'll find all these details there. So that's not a big problem. So here I've just done two things. First is I have changed this JRE. If your JRE is greater than 11 or less than 11, I have just changed it to 11. So I've said in target that the JRE will be of 11 version because Jenkins supports the 11 version Java. So we need to set up our project in that version as well. So that's what I have done. And in second place, I'm just mentioning the XML file name. So next time when I'll run this code, so I don't need to go to the XML file. Just I will do right click here. I'll go to run as, and straight away I will run the Maven test. So next time when you're running the Maven test, it will come to this place. It will read the XML file. Now you see you get the complete report over here. It will execute the steps, and at the end it will generate you that test passed, test failed, those types of things, like how many tests passed, how many failed. All the details will be executed. So that's why we are adding these plugins, and this will help us to execute in proper sequence. That's all the reason behind adding this. And this will help us when we will run the code in GitHub through Jenkins. So all this is covered here. So this is all the steps that you need to keep in mind. And this is how you have to configure your project, because the next section, I'll upload the code on GitHub. So I'll do that video on that as well. After that, when we'll come to Jenkins, that will be a new experience for you. You will get to see how we can perform different tasks on Jenkins just from executing the Jenkins and setting the pipelines of your test case. Everything you'll get to know there. So that section is more focused, and that's what more added in this second season of this tutorial series. These steps were there in the old frameworks, but still I brought this thing because I need a proper project to run on Jenkins. So I thought instead of executing the old one, you'll get a new variety of project, as well as you'll get to know more about the Jenkins. So from here, the videos will become more important. So now the project section, the coding section, everything is done. The configuration section, all these details are done. So from next video, we'll see how to execute on GitHub and Jenkins. That's all in this video. See you in next video. Bye-bye, and thank you.